The Union Budget was presented in Parliament on the 5th of July. In this year's budget, one of the major changes was in the allocation of the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. The ministry's allocation increased from roughly 76,000 crores in 1819 to 1.4 lakh crores in 1920, which is an increase of 83% in 1 year. This increase is largely due to the 75,000 crore allocation to the PM-Kisan scheme announced in the interim budget, which now accounts for 54% of the ministry's allocation. PM-Kisan scheme is an income support scheme for farmers which aims to provide 6,000 rupees per year to farmer families in 3 installments. This is the first cash transfer scheme of this scale that is being implemented by the central government, which makes it essential to understand the context in which the scheme has been introduced. Over the years, the workforce engaged in the agriculture sector and the sector's output have seen major changes. While growth of the agriculture sector has been volatile, the contribution of the sector to India's economy has significantly decreased from 51% in 1951 to 19% in 2011. Although the sector contributes 19% of the value of the economy, it still employs roughly half of the country's workforce. Under the PM-Kisan scheme, earlier, only families with total cultivable land of up to 2 hectares were eligible. In May, the scheme was extended to all farmer families irrespective of the size of their land. The revised scheme is expected to cover 14.5 crore beneficiaries. Although rupees 75,000 crores have been allocated for the scheme for giving 3 installments, so far only 12,500 crores have been disbursed under the 2 installments. Beneficiaries under the scheme are to be identified by states based on their land records. However, in many of the states, land records are unclear and still need to be updated. Further, as the scheme requires an ownership of land for receiving the benefits, it does not cover landless agricultural laborers, which roughly constitute 55% of the agricultural workers in the country. Interest subsidy scheme is another important scheme under the ministry, which aims to provide agricultural credit at subsidized cost to farmers. The scheme provides a reduction or subsidy in the interest that is payable by farmers on short-term loans taken by them. The scheme also provides an additional subsidy for prompt repayment. 18,000 crores have been allocated to the scheme in 1920, which is a 20% increase over the previous year. The scheme covers loans taken from institutional sources such as banks, cooperatives, and NABARD. However, a lot of loans taken by farmers come from informal sources as well, such as moneylenders and relatives. Typically, these informal sources charge a higher rate of interest as compared to the institutional sources. This is particularly important for marginal farmers owning less than a hectare of land, as only 38% of the loans taken by them come from institutional sources, with the rest coming from informal sources. Currently, 68% of the agricultural land holdings in the country are less than a hectare in size, which implies that most farmers continue to borrow from informal sources. Over the years, as agricultural land holdings have been getting fragmented, the share of marginal land holdings has been increasing. In 2015, an RBI committee noted that the interest subsidy scheme incentivizes short-term loans over long-term loans. Long-term loans are taken to invest in agricultural machinery, equipment, or irrigation systems and boost the productivity of the sector. Preference for short-term loans indicates that farmers are taking loans for their recurring expenditures rather than for making long-term investments. For more details on other issues and allocations to the ministry and other issues in the sector such as crop insurance, agricultural marketing and research, and MSPs, please refer to the budget analysis of the ministry available on our website www.prsindia.org.